Hello, all of you soon-to-be weavers. So today I'm going to show you how to start a weaving. So weaving is the first step often if you want to learn how to sew something. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of yarn, and I already have a thin piece of burlap to practice on. So the right amount of yarn is you want to pretend like you are about to shoot a bow and arrow. So I know you can't see the yarn because I'm pulling it from one hand to my shoulder, sort of like a bow and arrow. And I'll go ahead and cut on the cut the yarn. Make sure that the yarn is all nice and happy and looks nice and tidy before you put it back. We want to keep it nice for the next people and not let it get all ratty. All right, everybody. So on one side of the yarn, I need to make a knot. So I'm going to go ahead and make a knot by making it go all the way around in a circle. Cross it over and pull. Now I like to do a double knot, so I'm going to do the same thing. Make a circle, cross over, whip around that little tabby bit, and there you go. I've got a double knot. And on the other side, I need to thread my needle. Okay, everybody, a word on the needles. Please respect the needle. I do not have many of them. 2, they can break easy. And 3, I need them all back. Okay, to thread your yarn into the eye of the needle, it can be kind of challenging. So, this is my favorite way to do that. I have a thin piece of paper and I have folded it in half to make it even thinner. I'm going to stick that thin folded piece of paper, kind of like a hot dog bun, and stick it through my needle. Yeah, it fits, no problem. Okay, so now it should be a little bit easier for me because I'm going to put my yarn, kind of like the hot dog, into my bun. And then I can go ahead and push that paper through my needle, and voila, my yarn is now threaded through the eye of my needle. Okay, if you are weaving and your thread comes out, then you can just simply rethread it. If you're really struggling, you can tie one knot, but not 2 knots, one knot so that you can take it off when you need to. I like to just go ahead, make my weft, that's this little piece down here, this tail, and make it like a little bit about the size of my hand. And now I'm ready to weave. To weave, I'm going to hold my needle down at the bottom of the eye so that the thread can't get pulled through. The yarn can't go anywhere. If I was holding it somewhere else, the yarn can pull through. You see what I did there, folks? So go ahead and hold it down at the base. Okay, to get started. The type of a weaving that we're going to do is also something called a running stitch. So I'm going to take my needle from the back of my thread, or the back of my burlap. I'm going to pull it up. I got to pull it through a little bit, and then I go back to holding on that eye so I don't pull the thread out. And I'm going to gently pull all the way until my knot holds it in place. If you pull really hard, this knot could maybe just pull right through the burlap, so be gentle. All right, so I've just started. So I'm at the top of my burlap, so now I'm going to go down. I'm going to try to go right along the edge-ish. Pull it through. I'm going to go back to holding it by the eye so I don't pull the yarn. Pull it way, coming back up. So I'm going to go a little bit faster because I want to keep talking about some of the things. As you go up and then down, it's like a snake going up and down. I do not want my stitches to be very long. If you make them long, and if you were doing a real sewing, things would fall apart. Small, close together stitches. So when you're up you go down. When you're down, you go up. There are other ways to sew, and I will show you those hopefully at a later date. But right now, we're doing the threading stitch. Down and up, folks, down and up. Weaving your way, get it? Weaving your way across. Okay, guys, so let's pretend that I am out almost of yarn. At some point, whether it's the end of art class or your end of your thread, you're gonna have to stop. So this is what we're gonna do. If it's the end of art class and you're like, oh, I'm just in the middle of this, you can save this by just putting it in a little bit and out a little bit, and don't pull it through. Do not pull it through, because then you just made a stitch. Woohoo! You're just gonna leave it like this as like a resting spot. Again, I'm gonna need my needles back when you're finished, but if you're still working on it, that's okay. Okay, another thing is, let's pretend that you only have a little bit of yarn left. When you have about a hand's length of yarn left, it's time to stop. Do not sew all of your yarn. Otherwise, I can't do anything with that little knob. You need a lot left over. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pretend and cut this bad boy down. So when I have about this much yarn left, you gotta stop. To stop, you're gonna flip it over. And my favorite way to stop is to take your needle through your last stitch that you did, and I'm going to make a knot. All right, fancy, I'm gonna go do it again. I'm gonna go through the last stitch and go around that loop, just like you were tying your shoes or something. Okay, guys, I can cut this off, return my needle, save my little bit, because that can be some fun arty bits too, and put everything away in the correct spot. All right, everybody, happy arting today.